Iran under the Islamic regime is the worst example of gender apartheid today. But was it always this way? Let's take a look at the White Revolution, an ambitious set of reforms and the modernization of Iran initiated by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi in 1963. And yes, of course, these reforms were opposed by the mullahs. The White Revolution began with a 6-point charter approved in a public referendum, a referendum in which Iranian women voted for the first time. The first principle focused on agrarian reforms and the abolition of the feudal system. The second nationalized forests and pastures within Iran. The third was privatization of government-owned companies and support for the land reform. And the fourth introduced profit sharing for workers. One of the most revolutionary reforms, however, was the fifth principle of the White Revolution, which amended Iran's election law in order to give women the right to vote and have equal political rights with men. Prior to this, women were legally in the status of mentally ill or felons, deprived of political and civil agency. This reform was the aftermath of Shah Reza Pahlavi's temporary decree in January 1936, banning hijab and Islamic dress as part of a series of reforms to reduce tribal divisions in the diverse Iranian society, bringing together Iranians of all communities. Until the Islamic Revolution, the anniversary of this decree was even celebrated as Women's Liberation Day in Iran. These reforms were part of the vision of the Shah to modernize Iran into a global power, and he succeeded. Under the sixth principle, promoting literacy rates doubled. An educated middle class was born, and for the first time, there was social mobility in Iran. Over 1 million Iranians became small business owners as a result of these reforms, and Iran quickly became a global economic powerhouse. After the White Revolution reforms passed in 1963, the Family Protection Law was passed shortly after, which abolished unilateral divorce and gave women the right to request divorce. Other laws included the establishment of Social Security, technological reforms for water and industrial development, education, healthcare, anti-corruption, and more. All in all, there were 19 reforms over 16 years implemented by the Shah as part of the White Revolution. The Shah's reforms changed the course of history in Iran and changed the world. But not everyone was happy. The Ayatollah Khamenei condemned the Shah, and the mullahs were angered by a more educated, independent society. He wrote a scathing letter opposing women's suffrage and was angered by reforms which allowed non-Muslims protections and ability to serve the country. He called the reforms an act against God and used religion to incite against the Shah, instigating violent riots and ultimately leading to his exile. Sadly, everyone with a complaint, including the wealthy elite that didn't benefit from the White Revolution, saw Khomeini as a figure to rally behind in exile, which is what helped lead to the tragic Islamic Revolution in 1979, despite the fact Iran was never an Islamic country.
If the government today was run by the mullahs and
they would take us back 1,500 years.
Iran was a thriving, successful nation with an educated population and a rising middle class, but the mullahs have destroyed that and turned the country backwards. While Iran was not perfect, it was heading in a completely different direction. Today, the fight for revolution in Iran is the people's rejection of the Islamist, reactionary dictatorship that the mullahs have instilled in Iran. Every person of conscience should support the Iranian people in their fight for freedom.